Vice Prime Minister, thank you for meeting with us today on the story of the Exodus. Would you tell me, when was the first time you heard this wonderful story of the Exodus?
Probably when I was 3 years old, from early childhood.
Who told you the story?
My grandfather was a rabbi, and I was educated on it, and then when I went to school, that was the first chapters we have learned. The creation of the world and then the Exodus.
What did you think of that story?
Well, the story has several chapters. One is clearly the personality of Moses. To this very day, he remains without any competition the greatest legislator of our time. And I thought the 10 Commandments that he brought down from Sinai, which is maybe 340 words, is the foundation of our civilization. Take away the 10 Commandments and we're out of business. We don't have any moral foundation. So first of all, the fascination with Moses. He wasn't very eloquent, even wasn't popular. I mean, would he leave Egypt with televisions and papers? They would kill him. Would there will be a public poll, he would go down, because the minute the Jews left Egypt, they started to regret it. They came and complained to him. Why did you take us out? Why did you take us out from this great land where there is plenty of meat and so on? And not only that, his own brother went to business with the golden calf. So that was number one. Number two, the idea of slavery and freedom. I mean, the description of slavery was so horrible, downhearted. You take a whole people and really make from them inhumane group of men working so hard. And the house of slavery was the second thing that appealed very much to my imagination. And from slavery to redemption. I thought maybe at a very early age that the 40 years in the desert were not just a physical desert, but a desert in human hearts. Maybe it takes a long time to be relieved from slavery and become free. Then the legendary part of it, which is a new dimension. I mean, what happened to the Egyptians, the story with Paro, the negotiations with him, the different miracles that has happened from the production of the water until the split of the sea. All this was more like a children edition to a great human story. And some of it, it's not easy. I mean, even all the curses and all this bad blood, so to speak. But it's one story, and it's a great story. It actually it followed another great story, which is Joseph and his brothers going to Egypt. I read somewhere that Tolstoy said that this is the greatest story ever published in human literature. The story of Joseph and his brother and his going to Egypt. And love of the lady for him and his resistance to it and the dreams. And it's really a fascinating story. So, I mean, a child that has imagination could get enough food for the rest of their life and not just for the Pesach, not just for the Passover. And it was basically imagination, and then a lesson, and then a law.
Joseph was a chosen person in a way. according to the story, he had these dreams.
He was a preferred child, not a chosen person, preferred by his father, because he was the last to be born, and he was apparently very charismatic and very intelligent.
Well, and then he had these dreams, and even his father didn't understand them.
Yes.
So in a sense, if you look at the way the story is written, God chose him for a mission. And when he shared those dreams, it irritated his brothers to the point they wanted to destroy him.
They were jealous about him all the time. On one side, he was their brother, and the other side, he was the spoiled brother. That his father gave him special dress, a beautiful shirt. They were very jealous. And they felt that Zoe is the youngest, and hierarchy of age played a role. He is the most maybe talented of them. He conquered the heart of everybody he saw, men and women.
If they would have destroyed Joseph, they would have destroyed themselves. Because Joseph was the one who actually provided for them when the famine came, through his faithfulness.
Yes, that explains their double attitude to him. On one hand, they wanted to get rid of him. On the other hand, they wanted to save him. It wasn't a clear attitude. And Joseph was the first Jewish advisor on earth. And he advised the most powerful empire in the vicinity.
Abraham was given a promise by God, but he was also told that his descendants would go into slavery, and then they would return to the land that was promised to Abraham. It says in the Torah that there was an everlasting covenant that was given, and do you want to talk about that?
Yes. You know, Abraham was the father of the nation, so to speak, the head of the family. And he was forced into a famine. He didn't have bread, he didn't have food, and he was wandering around, and then the Lord promised him that he will have a stable land where he could develop his nation and his family. And he was really the first patriarch in our tradition. And he has the problem with his own wife, and then the addition of Hagar, and also the intervention of angels, and if you want, Satan too. But Abraham really appears as a fatherly figure, where Moses appears as a great legislator. It's not his negotiations with the Paro in Egypt, but his negotiation with the Lord on the Mount of Sinai. It is there where heaven was brought down. So these are two great figures of a different nature and different role.
You know, Moses was actually a reluctant leader. When he came to the burning bush, and God told them to go back to Egypt, he was kind of arguing about that whole idea.
I think a leader that doesn't have reluctance cannot be a leader. He's blind, he's one-sided, narrow-minded. And I think that everybody struggled, you know, with even the angels. The dream about the ladder leading to heaven and the struggle with the angels. Leadership is a struggle, and not only with your enemies, but with your own self. And for that reason, Moses wasn't so quick in speaking and was incapable in managing. I mean, the whole way he managed the Jewish people, today they would call it a scandal. He really invited a foreign expert and asked his advice how to run the people.
Jethro. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Jethro. Jethro came in, he taught him the basic laws to nominate heads for 10 and for 100, and to raise his hands and make them let them go down as signaling to the people. So he wasn't what we would call a charismatic born leader. He was greater than that in his doubts and in his vision.